Oh, so sorry. Okay, hello everyone. Good evening. Here in the Philippines, it's nighttime, and wherever you are in the world, good day. So if you are from the Philippines again, magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. And if you are from other parts of the globe, good evening. I mean, good day. Good day. Right. So um, we're going to talk about a very important topic for today. And as promised, every weekend, Sunday, we're going to have a very important talk. It's Sunday in the Philippines. If you are maybe in other parts of the world, I don't know what day would that be or what time is it there in your country. But then today, again, as promised, this is going to be our thing to do during weekends. So we would just talk about data science. No, no strict rule to follow. No, no very technical thing to do. We will just talk about it. But of course, we will have a certain topic to talk about, and that is what to consider in data science project. Okay, so we do have lots of things in our mind when we start making our data science project, don't you? And I believe you always would like to make your data science project the best way possible. But then the problem is that you don't know how to start. You don't know the things to consider in making your data science projects, because it could be that you don't have any experience how to do it, or you don't have any friend or any mentor who would tell you that this is how to begin the process, this is how you're going to do it, these are the steps. Okay, and that is the kind of thing we're going to discuss for today. So in we're just going to have it in 5 minutes. We're just going to wait for some other persons to come in. Okay, so please time in which country you are from. And then again, my name is Joseph. I'm from the Philippines. And please comment later what kind of questions you will have me answered. And of course, if you would like to also share something, you can just comment down below, and we'll just share with each other. We're just going to discuss. Of course, we can learn from each other. You can learn from me, and I can learn from you too. Okay. So, right. So, how is your data science journey? Have you been busy doing your stuffs, or have you been busy learning the things that would also help you improve your craft? Which is which? I'm really actually enjoying this kind of thing. I'm sharing with you guys the things that I've known from my experiences, of course, and from my study. So it's going to be a very overwhelming day for me, especially Sunday, because it would be a time for me to just talk about data science. No strict rules, just pure talk about data science. So that's it, guys. So let me first share to a group, data science group. Op- Oops, data analytics group away. All right. Okay. Okay. So once again, in building your data science project, there would be a lot of things to consider. It's not just about making a model, as what a lot of people would think and expect that the first thing to do is that you're going to just easily build a model. But of course, it's not that way. Data science or making data science project is not just about building a model. So later on, we'll just talk about some of the models, famous models that data scientists or that we use in a certain project. Okay, so of course I have my notes here for me not to get lost in my talk. Okay, so guys, okay, I think we have to start. So for most people, actually, the problem is okay. So for most people, actually, their problem is that how they're going to frame their data science problem, and that is the most important thing to do in making your data science project. Why? Maybe you would like to ask me, why is it that this is the most important thing to do first and foremost? Okay, because this determines all the processes that you're going to do after having your first step. Okay, so maybe you would like to ask me, what's the first step in building a data science project? What do you think? Of course, the first thing that you're going to do in building your data science project is that you first have to identify your main problem. Again, let me repeat that. The first thing that you're going to do is that you're going first to frame your data science problem. And of course, you're going to frame your data science objective. Okay. But then, of course, an objective can vary from one problem to another. Because for others who would work for a certain company, it could be um, commercial, right? Commercial establishments. The problem or the objective would always be something like how you're going to gain, okay? How you're going to have higher gains. Of course, that is always the main that is always the end result. But then, for building a certain model, especially in these modern times when we deal with a certain business problem, the first and the most important thing is that it must be customer centric, right? I don't know if you have been doing that kind of thing, if you've been into the business world, but for a person like me who have been working with data about businesses, commercial purposes, then the most important thing is that anything anything that goes in your company, anything that goes in your strategy, marketing strategy, business strategy should always be revolve around the customer behavior, because first and foremost, the company really thrives when the customer is happy with your services, they are satisfied with your products, right? So that's why the main thing that you have to consider is that your main objective. What is your main objective? What is that objective that your company really would like to attain, would like to reach? Okay, so and because of this, so when we say about this kind of thing, so we think that, and we always have to think about this, that making a model is not our end goal. Again, making a model is not our end goal. Okay, so what then could be the end goal? Okay, our end goal is that what, or in what way our company, our our clients can really benefit from our company, right? So our company would like to expect something out of our model. So when we build our model, we have to expect that there should be something monetary that is involved in the from the very beginning until the end. Or if you're working for other purposes, like for example, when it has something to do with medical purposes, then of course the main goal would be that how can it improve human life? How can it improve human health? How can it save human life? How it can prolong human life? Okay, so if you are working for a certain organizations that deal with environmental issues, of course, your main goal would be how can this improve the situations of our environment? How can this help protect our Mother Earth? How can this help alleviate the effects of global warming? How can this improve the situation um, of the of the sea, for example, of the beaches, of the forests, right? So these are just some of the main considerations that we have to think of if we are building our, if we are framing our problem. Okay, so don't forget about that. It has something to do with the benefit that we can get out of it, and of course, when we say the benefit, it has something to do with the expectations we can get at the end. Okay, so it could be monetary, of course. It could be something that is of public health. It could be of public service, right? Like for example, the minutes, how many minutes that your clients would be waiting for them to be able to get their order. So you would like to improve the the delivery of your services in the most in the shortest possible time, right? So that's it. And then, so there are a lot of things to consider when you do that. Okay, so um, understanding your main objective, having the main objective is really very important, because this main objective determines the frame of your problem. So when we say frame of the problem, it has something to do with the very cause. So there are a lot of things to consider when you frame your problem. The first one is that you have to explain and describe the nature of your problem. So speaking of nature, there are a lot of things to consider. First and foremost, you have to understand the root cause of the problem. Okay, so there could have been a study in the past about the certain situations you're in right now, and sometime in the past when the study was conducted, the result was not that good. So you always have to, if there is, okay, if there is a study before, if there was a study before, so you have to go to that, you have to review that kind of study, and you have to understand what really went wrong, if it did not really solve the problem, or if it solved the problem but the expectation did not meet or was not met, right? So That's it. And then you have to understand also the scope of the problem. So the scope, it could be um, how how big the problem would be. So you have to understand and you have to identify the number of people involved. Who are these people involved in the project? For example, when we're talking about business, of course, your clients, your customers would be involved. But then there are a lot of customers, so you also have to segment your customers. Who would be the most affected or affected by your problem, by your research, by your study? Who would they be? Are these people who are aged 25 to 40? Are they children? Are they senior citizens? Are they 45 to 50 years old? Are they mothers? Are they fathers? Are they teenagers? Are they school children? Okay, so in the scope of your study, you really have to understand who are these people who would be affected, who can be benefited by your results. Okay, and then of course you have to also understand other factors aside from the customers. So the factors could be that um, the the geography, what locations, um, are these people just in the Philippines who would be affected by your study, or are they just in a certain part of the Philippines, or are they just in a certain part or of the region? Okay, so if you are in the U.S., for example, are they just does the study just only concern about New York? Does the study only concern about California? What? Okay. So these are the different considerations that you have to think of. Okay. And also the most important thing that you have to take note is that never ever forget to always, always consider talking with other persons who are expert in a subject matter. Okay. So don't just think that only you are capable of doing the study. So there should be a team. Okay, there should be a team. Always talk to persons or expert in the field. See, for example, when you are conducting study about the natural resources, the natural resources, then maybe you can just ask persons who are very much active and involved for a long time, or who have history in doing things that are related to the natural resources, right? So maybe you could go to, if you could go to a certain department in in your government that is tasked to do the natural resources issues. Okay, so if you're working in a company, so if this just concerns about the packaging of your product, then you have to also talk to people who are involved in the packaging, in the design of the package, right? And so what this means is that you always have to consider the key persons, the key persons who are involved in the study. Okay, so you don't have to involve all the departments. For example, you don't have to involve the the security. For example, if you're talking about the packaging and the design of your product, you don't have to go to the accounting when the issue is really about a design and not about the accounting matters. Of course, no, right? So expertise, you have to talk to them, key persons. Okay, and then after understanding the nature of your problem, the scope of your problem, the after understanding the different factors that would affect your problem, then it's time for you to understand what kind of algorithm to use. Okay, so you don't have to just play around and do your thing. Of course, that's not the 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 best way to do it. There are a lot of algorithms that you can just choose from, but of course, it would depend on what kind of problem, what kind of objective you're going to have. Okay, say for example, if you are just going to classify something, then of course classification algorithms will just work for you. Okay, so for example, you can just go to if you are talking about just simple predictions. Of course, you can go to regression. Okay, um, decision trees, for example, so you can just use that too, depending on what kind of problem you would have. And also, the most important thing is that you have to also understand if your problem is supervised, or if the data is supervised or if it is unsupervised. You have to think about that. Okay, and then um, the next thing that you're going to do is that after an understanding and identifying the kind of algorithm you're going to use, the next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to understand, identify what kind of performance measure you're going to use. Is it the RMSE, the root mean, or the MAE, the mean absolute? Which one? It would depend on um, which one is more sensitive to having outliers. Which one? So there are things to choose from. Okay, so you have to be very much critical and logical in understanding what you're going to use. And of course, also in doing this, you have to also understand and identify how much effort you're going to exert, how much money you're going to spend, because these are the different considerations that that you really have to take note of. Okay, so of course, having a study would be very much time consuming, and sometimes it would be draining. It's because you really have to repeat the process. Sometimes it is over and over again, especially when it does not give you your expectation. Of course, you have to do that. And of course, when your model is already there, it is still subject to different validations, and it has to be checked and managed over and over again, just to conform to new situations, to conform to to new rules, to new observations, to new trends, right? So these are the main things that we have to think of if we are crafting the main objective of our project. Okay, then as what we have already mentioned, we have to think of if there was already a study conducted before. And maybe you would like to ask me, why do we have to understand, or why do we have to think or research if there was a certain study conducted before that is connected to the present study that you are doing, right? It's because this kind of thing would really tell you if the kind of solution that you're going to offer for the present problem would be more effective. And also, this gives you a gauge, a certain measure, if the kind of solution that you're going to offer would be more effective too. So having the insights from the past study is a very helpful thing for you to be able to conduct more researches. Okay, so that's it.